Hey guys, this is Andy McCann, your host here on Fitness, Food, and Finance, a CrossFit Garage podcast. And sometimes I have other people on here with me. Today it's a solo adventure. I'm going to go over a question I got from the survival podcast community. It's a fellow Eric out in Germany. He asked about weight vests. I'm also going to cover some topics that are hitting me near and dear to the heart right now. So Evan's been going through some challenges. I'm going to kind of throw out what we're doing on that. And eventually, once we get some things worked out, I'm going to bring him on here. We're going to talk about it because we want to make you guys aware of what's going on out there in the world. And you may not be alone. And don't take it on the chin, right? Stand up for yourself and, be an advocate of your own health. Try whatever you can try. Okay, so let's see. First things, we are still, let's see. Where do I want to go right here? We'll go for the weight vest first. So anyway, the Survival Podcast I'm an expert on their show, and basically people email questions in and I answer them. So the question was about weight vests. I know a lot of you guys wear weight vests. Here's my 2 cents. It depends on what you're doing, why you wear it, and when you wear it. Now, if you look in the gym, you're going to see everyone with various types. I know Go Ruck is now supporting or sponsors for the CrossFit Games, and I don't care. I mean, if you want to buy from them, totally cool, but I don't typically... I'm not a very big, what do they call it? Like an influenced type of guy. Buy whatever you want because it works for whatever you want it to do. Don't buy it because CrossFit said it. They're just paying money to be a sponsor. Do they have good stuff? Probably. I don't know. But, it's their thing is a weighted vest. So yeah, give them a shot. Now, here's what I'm going to throw it at you. You have to kind of understand why you're doing what you're doing. So if you're buying a weighted vest because I want to add weight and jog and make workouts harder so when I take it off, it's easier, it doesn't really do what you think it's going to do. And in that case, I really wouldn't buy a heavy vest. I would buy something lighter, like a 5-pound vest. I would also buy a vest that was super tight, like Hyperwear. I got this one pulled up right here if you're watching the video. Hyperwear, let's see, it was Hyperwear Hypervest Pro is what it's called. And I think a couple of you guys at the gym have this. I don't know whose vest goes with who. I think Jamie's got one of these. Anyway, you pull a cord on the side and it sort of cinches down, kind of like, what would cinch down like that? I guess I'm thinking of like Cinderella when she's getting dressed and the birds are pulling on that thingy in the back that tightens it all up. I don't know what you call that. Not a corsage, that's the flower thing. A corset? Something? Anyway, it pulls in tight so the vest is very tight to your body, and I think that's great. I'd also go, like I said, with a lighter vest, so I wouldn't do a 40-pound weight vest. I would do 20 pounds. If that's the idea, is I just want to add a little bit of weight, so when I take it off, everything is easier. I don't think it's really going to do what you think it's going to do. I think what you should really try to do is go harder and rest less and see what it's like to go faster. But again, it's, everybody's got different viewpoints on this. I don't wear any gear, and I refuse to do things with a vest on because I love my shoulders. And it's invariably something like, hey, we're doing pull-ups with a vest. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I have a hard enough time anyway with shoulders. Shoulders are a really dumb joint. Thank you, God, for making them. But it's like he just took 2 pieces of paper, slapped them together, and then wrapped it around with some bubble gum. Shoulders are just really unique, and I don't want that extra pressure on my shoulders. So now if you're doing something like I'm training for Murph, again, it's got a weighted vest, but pull-ups. So yeah, no, not going to do it. Now, some of you guys do the weighted vest on the run. Totally cool. I just don't like that much pressure on my shoulders. I'm a small guy with small shoulders, and 40 pounds or 20-pound vest or whatever it is a heck of a lot for me to wear. So no bueno, not going to do it. I'm not saying you can't do that, but that's just not me. Hold on. This is what happens when real life is happening and you're just doing the podcast by the seat of your pants. When your wife calls and you're doing a podcast, you hit pause and you talk to your wife. That's what you do. So man, if you're not sure about that, always hit pause, talk to your wife. Women, I know, you would think, why would they not know that? Because we're men and we're stupid. We just don't know those things. Okay, anyway, back to the weight vest. I would prefer, and I'll link it if I remember to do this. Well, I should remember to do it. The Hyperwear Hypervest Pro or the Vest Elite. That would be my favorite one. The next one I'd probably go with is this. There's a company, I think it's pronounced Aduro Sports, adjustable weight vest. So this one does have little adjustments. So you can get the little weight are in 1 pound increments. And so you can slot them in there. That's pretty good. I like that. If you got smaller increments. Again, I like a lighter vest if I'm going to do this at all. It also has it looks like it Velcros a bit better down. The one I'm looking at actually is for ladies. So does it matter? I mean, yeah, it does matter. But I think a guy could get away with it. I just like the way it's shaped. It's got the shoulder straps are far enough out. A problem that I've got is comfort level with these things. Sometimes the shoulder straps are too damn tight and it's like rubbing against your neck the whole time. Or like CJ was wearing one. He's like, I can't Velcro this thing. So if it's a big plate, there's a Velcro strap around the middle and there's just no way to do it right. Because if you don't want it to jiggle, like he was saying is, hey, I got to Velcro this thing tight so it doesn't move around, but then I can't really breathe. So you're like, damn it, I've got a breathing problem and a Velcro slapping around the chest plate in my face problem. So I mean, which one do you want to solve? I do like the idea of the vest. I just don't like what it actually does. So anyway, I'm never going to be wearing, I will probably not wear a vest anytime. If I do, it's going to be like a 5-pound vest. Or there was a thing that we had a long time ago. I think it was called, it was not called Skins. Dog nabbit. It was a shirt you could put on, a skin tight shirt. And then you slotted these 1-pound gel packs all around your body. And so what it did is it moved the weight all around you. So rather than just being a chest driven weight, it actually was on your shoulders, it was on your hips, it was on your arms. So it had all over the place. I didn't have the pants for it, but you could do that. And they were only 1 pound per gel pack and they're pretty big. What we ended up using the gel packs for, I still have it. I don't know if I have the shirt, but I have the gel packs. We threw them in the freezer and then we'd pull them up and like wear it as a cool vest. And so that was nice. And we still use them today. We just don't have the shirt. We just put them on whatever hurts. But, anyway, vest-wise, I think who was it that coined this? It's that pick 3 thing. So you can have quality, price, or speed, right? You can't have all 3. If you want to be ship something out quick, then you're going to sacrifice quality or price, right? If you're going to have great quality, then you're going to sacrifice price or speed, right? So there's you could pick 2 out of the 3. I think that's what it is. Pick 2, not pick 3. Anyway, you can pick 2 of the 3. You can't have all 3. So same thing here. You're picking something. Am I going for comfort or am I going for adjustability? Typically, they don't go together. The adjustable ones are either going to have bean bags or they're going to have metal bars, and you're going to slot those. Usually it's 1 pound, 2 pound, or 2.5 pounds. I like the smaller adjustments. I also like the things I can pull tight. I also like it when I can't adjust it because it's going to be a tighter fit. So for me, comfort is the thing that I'm going to be going for most of the time. So the idea that many people have on a weighted vest is if I do it heavier, then when I take it off, I'll be better. And that's not necessarily the case. So I would argue if you went and did Karen, which is 150 wall balls for time, and instead of using, say, the 20-pound wall ball, you said, I'm going to use a 30-pound wall ball a couple times and do this out and maybe do Karen 3 or 4 times or do all my wall balls with that 30-pound wall ball. And then later on, when I do Karen regular, I should crush it. It doesn't really work out the way you think it would work out because that movement is very dynamic. And so you want more of a fast twitch, explosive movement than you do learning how to throw something incredibly heavy. So what you're going to develop is different than the ball itself. Now, if you used a 21-pound ball, yeah, I think you've got something there. It's just a minor change. Or maybe even better, if I learned to use a 16-pound ball and I strung everything together. So I feel like there was somebody in the gym, maybe it was Nick Lubbers. He said, I'm going to do as many wall balls as I possibly can. And I think he did like 75 wall balls and then fell apart. But I was like, that's pretty damn impressive, 75 wall balls. So could I do a 10-pound wall ball and do 150 of them in one go? I don't know. That would be interesting to understand where my body started falling apart. And then I would aim down on that item. I'd imagine it's my thighs. Actually, my arms are pretty small, so it'd probably be my arms. But I would want to understand what happens trying to do bigger sets. And I would probably have to use a lighter ball to get those bigger sets. Anyway, that's the route I would go down. So there are other vest companies out there. Rogue makes some good vests. You can get a 511 tactical vest. I already talked about Hyperwear. There's that MIR. I think it's Mir. I don't know how you say it. And then Aduro Sports. I like them too. But it just really depends what you're going for. So, okay, we're going to leave vests alone. I'm going to move on to the next topic. And I guess I probably should have told you what I was going to talk about. I think it was only a little bit. Evan's had some gut issues, and I'm going to get into the details later on. I'm going to have him on the show to really, I guess it's a show. Have him on the podcast to really talk about it and give you his insights, because I'm going to butcher a lot of things. But the nutshell was this. I sent a kid off to college. Second year, he comes back, and things are messed up big time, and we don't really know what's messed up. The thing I'm finding out is nobody really knows anything. They just take their best guess. I hate it when I'm an engineer. I want 1 + 1 is 2. Like, look at a thing, tell me a thing, what's the thing? And they're like, well, it depends on these factors, that factors. I get it. A human body is totally, different. And, we have different blood types. So not even our blood is uniform. So I get it. It just sucks. And I don't like feeling powerless. And I don't like feeling like, well, that's your lot in life. You're just screwed. Okay, so here's the situation. My parents went away on a week's vacation. All right, that's for all you kids from the 80s. I seriously doubt many of you understood what that was about right there. Anyway, Alan Molinex, you're probably laughing, buddy. So he went off to college his sophomore year at 170 pounds. He was thinking, hey, if vitamins are good, I should just take more vitamins. So he took a bunch of vitamins and it made his stomach all messed up. And so we were struggling out of that. We went to ski and he was totally fine in December. He goes on a cruise with his fraternity brothers, BYX, out of UGA, and went to, I think, the Bahamas, that area. Possibly had some weird food, came back, started losing weight and having stomach issues. Us just being dumbass parents, we're like, you're probably fine, whatever. And also denial is great. You're just like, there's no real problem. And I'm a dude. What do I do with my emotions? I bottle them up, I shove them down. So I can realize part of me was saying, my kid isn't sick. It's just not true. I'm not going to believe it. We talked about it, but I don't think I heard his words until I really went to go pick him up from college. I'm like, dude, you do not look good at all. And he had dropped something like 40 pounds. He was down to like 135 pounds. And I'll let him tell the whole story. But so there we were. He's coming home like 135 pounds. So us being the parents we are, we're like, hey, let's try to do this thing natural. Let's see what's wrong. So the first thing that came up was, hey, you probably have a liver parasite. Now, he probably did. And they did some stuff to get rid of it. He can go into all the things he did. But did it get rid of the liver parasite? Possibly. I mean, I did not go into his liver and look. So you're just trusting the people that you trust. So was it a thing? I bet you it was, because he presented in those ways, but I have to trust him, right? So nobody went in there and dissected him and pulled out a parasite and said, hey, look, here's a liver parasite. Anyway, so we did that for a while. And then I said, well, let's monitor your weight anyway. So he dropped down in weight. One day, it was pretty stable at 135 pounds. It would go down a little bit and then kind of up a little bit. And then one day he came in and he's like, Dad, I'm 118 pounds. I'm like, okay. Full stop break. Dad's no longer in denial. At 118 pounds, I am like over concerned and now irritated in the fact that I did stupid things to not really pay attention. So I'm in like full panic mode and we're going to go figure out what's up. So we went to go see Dr. Skardassis. He's the doctor that I used when I hit my 50-year-old man appointment, and he is in a small group with me. So I know, like, and trust him. I said, hey, let's go see him. Actually, that's not the way it worked out. I really haven't said anything about this to many of you. And I texted the group and said, hey, could use some prayers and some fasting and whatever you guys want to do, right? And so, of course, Dr. Michael Skardassis said, hey, I am a doctor. Why don't you bring him in here and I'll see him? I'm like, dude, yeah, done. Let's do that. So I headed up there. And he said, let's do these things. And we did those things. And then he recommended to go do some other stuff, one of them being a endoscopy, which I stick a camera down your throat, and then, of course, down up the other side. We went and did that. We had some issues. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Meredith. Thank you. Oh, my gosh. Jennifer, and there's like two more of you. Thank you so very much for the frantic texts that I threw out there. Thank you for giving me insight and just being there and just talking. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Just thank you. Okay, so we got in to see a GI. I'll let him explain all that. Basically, the GI place did a good job. They got us in there quick. They found a hole. I mean, we were, from seeing Dr. Skardassis to the GI, it was under a week, which is pretty fast. Anyway, the proctologist, I mean, I get it. That doctor sees rear ends all day, and so he wasn't the nicest guy in the world. And he just basically said, and he didn't say this, but in my head, this is what he said. So, doctor, I'm not getting on you. I know you don't listen to this podcast, but I'm totally not getting on you. It's just, how I felt, and I hate that feelings are real, but they are. And what I heard, or what came through to me was, hey, Evan, who is loopy at the moment, I looked in your rear. It wasn't quite clean. I sprayed you and I looked and it's all raw, and you have Crohn's. Okay. You have an autoimmune disease that you're going to live with the rest of your life. Good luck. Bye. And he walks away. I'm like, what the hell just happened there? And then the nurse talked to us, or PA, I'm not sure what she was, but she did a good job with bedside manners and all that and really kind of talking to us. Now, weird things. She's like, hey, no fiber. And Evan's like, I want to eat pancakes. And she's like, yes, you can have pancakes, just not fiber. I'm like, wait a minute. I think we're not saying the same thing. So what she ended up saying was fibrous is the things you don't want, like celery or broccoli or spinach. I'm like, okay, got it. Not necessary fiber. We're just using words differently. I totally got it. I'm in. We actually have a doctor appointment coming up this Wednesday. Today's the 23rd. I know the way podcasts work is I have to do this ahead of time, because if I don't and I go on vacation, then you don't get a podcast, and I want to be, doing these things. So you're living my life in reverse. So you're in the DeLorean going back in time. Anyway, by the next podcast, there should be more information. Evan and I have been down a road the whole family on this road that we're on. Anyway, so he says, Dad, I really want to go back to college. We wrote up some goals on what does it look like for you to actually go back to college? Because you can't go back to college like this. So we've got some things. Whole lot of stuff happens, but the site that I'm looking at right now that you that are watching are like, Andy, talk about the site. I just needed to give you that background. There's a lot more I didn't give you. Evan can bring all that background to light. I just want you to know, 1, thank you for this community. 2, thank you for you guys personally, individually. I didn't really talk about any of this, and you guys have reached out, you've found out, and you've texted, and I love it, and thank you, and people at the gym giving hugs, thank you. Yeah, it's not me, but it's my son, which basically is me. When your child is when I was not a parent, and in the news, things would happen, and a dad goes apeshit and kills somebody because he hurt his kid, I'm like, man, that's weird. But once I became a parent, oh yeah, I will Batman on anybody's ass. It's go vigilante. If your kids or any kids are involved, I can't help myself. Now I understand. I get it. There's just a weird thing that happens when you become a parent and you see a baby get born. You're like, what? It probably happens sooner for moms. I get it because you're living with the baby for a lot longer than us men. It's not really real until somebody says, hey, will you change that diaper? Like, oh man, this is real. So anyway, on the way to pick up Evie, I get to drive to UGA right after that. And man, just to show the character of your kid, I wish I could take credit for like raising good kids, but these kids are good and just, they have good morals despite me. I grew up pretty poor and they're just good kids. The first thing Evan said, he knew I had to go to UGA to pick up Evie from a camp she was at that same day. And I'm in there in the hospital with him doing his thing. And he kind of wakes up, he's like, Dad, but who's going to pick up Evie? So his first concern wasn't even himself. It wasn't even his diagnosis. His first concern, I'm going to have to pause this, otherwise I'm going to cry. All right, men, trick. Men don't cry. I know they should, but we don't. We bottle up our feelings and we shove them down tight. If you ever think you're going to cry, just do some burpees. It gets rid of that. Okay, so Evan's first thing was, Dad, who's going to pick up Evie? It was about his sister. That's just freaking cool. And I wish I could say that I instilled that into them. I don't think it's me. I just think it's who he is. Anyway, so... on the way to pick up Evie, I put in my phone because I'm a podcast guy. I'm like, well, let me go to the podcast world and find who can do this. So I said, reversing Crohn's disease. And this guy comes up. And he, I think I actually know him from some of the mentoring things I do. But I listened to a podcast about reversing Crohn's, and it's him. And it's John Deck, I think, or Josh Deck. Anyway, so I'm like, well, let me listen to the next one. And it's actually him on somebody else's podcast. I'm like, oh, well, interesting. I'm like, well, let me go to the next one. Like, basically, 5 of the 4 podcasts I listened to were him. I'm like, okay, I don't think it's a sign. He just went out and did some podcasts, but whatever. We're going to jump into it. So we're doing this thing called Gut Health Solution. Is it snake oil? I don't know. I'm about to find out. He doesn't know that I have a podcast that reaches the tens of people. Maybe more than that. But, so we're going to go down this road. I listened to it. I think it makes sense. And I like what his thought was. So what I didn't like is the feeling that I can't do anything. And I'm going to draw this in and bring it back to CrossFit. I promise you. But the feeling of I can't do anything, the feeling of I have an autoimmune disease and I'm just screwed. I can't do anything. I just don't know. What do dads do? We solve problems. What's the next thing I do is if I can't solve a problem, I'm going to hire someone to solve a problem. So possibly he can solve a problem. Maybe not, but possibly. So he presents an option. Hey, it doesn't have to be the way they say it is. This could work. I get it. It could work. I'm willing to spend the money. I'm willing to give it a shot. This is the same thing with your health. I have guys who have said, I can't do anything. I was going to just text 50 of you guys. Most of you not most of you. Everyone got the text. Only some of you are going to probably read it. But I was going to text the first 50 of you guys and then do the rest of you later. But I did everyone today. Sent you everybody a text because this just on my heart. Sometimes people don't care. But I think it's hard to care when you don't care. And you're not helpless. You just have to do something. So I threw out there, hey, I will help you with your health. Your food. In this case, I'm always happy to help you with your health, right? I will help you with your food. I really don't like diving into nutrition because I'm just like, well, just don't eat the stupid stuff. But I get it. It's hard. But the real problem is people don't really want to take the time to do their own things. I said, hey, if you will food journal for 2 weeks, I'll help you. But if you're not willing to do it for 2 weeks, then you're not willing to help yourself yet. So you're not going to listen, really. We can sweat, but you're not going to mess with your food. And really, every one of you needs to mess with your food. I love you. And I want you to be healthy and live a long life. You have to mess with your food. You have to stop eating like a death row inmate. Cam, thank you for that line. I know you stole it from someone else, but thank you. So I put that out to everybody. So today's the 23rd. You got the text, and this podcast isn't going to come out for a month. It'll come out in August sometime. So you're like, yeah, I already got that back in time. Go back and check your texts and see if it's from me. My phone number is all over the internet. If you're like, Andy, I never get texts from you. Yes, you do. You just maybe goes, I can't go to spam. I don't know how that works. My number is 876-5409. That's not my number. That's a song. My number is 678-654-7796. Yeah, call me. Text me. Well, don't call me, because I typically don't answer my phone. It's on silent. Text me, and then we'll set up a time to talk. Or email me, andy@crossfitgarage.com. I am not a private person. My family is, but I'm not. I'm happy to talk to anybody. Specifically, if you're a member, dude, I am here for you. This is what I do. I'm a semi-retired dude. The thing that I want to do is help people. The motto of our gym is happy, humble, helpful. I want to be helpful. Anyway, I'm here to help. If you'll take care of yourself, if you will log food for 2 weeks, I will totally walk down the rabbit hole of helping you get back on track with your fitness. Not your fitness, your food. Well, your fitness too, but your food. Because this podcast is fitness, food, and finances. I just had a cool conversation, I don't know, with my brother. We were talking about this thing. And, it came up, hey, if you're going to work hard and have good finances, you better live a long time. So you're going to need that fitness and food. Anyway, this is one thing we're doing, the gut solution. The other thing we're doing, you probably saw a Instagram and Facebook picture post thing, whatever, reel, post, story. I don't know what it is. I just posted something. I guess it's a post. Anyway, it's called the Lion Diet. So we're doing this too. This is my second day on the diet. Basically, eat nothing but meat or things that came from things that are meat. So basically, think cow, venison, or that's deer, elk, which I don't know. Why does deer get venison and elk gets elk? Maybe elk is elkison? I don't know. Bison, lamb, things like that. It's a it's an animal with more than one stomach. Ruminant. It's a ruminant. So not pig, usually. It's not a ruminant. They can eat hot stuff. Not raccoon or possum, the other white meat, or a squirrel. So basically something that I suppose eats grass. Is that what it is? A ruminant? Yeah, they eat hay. And I guess not a horse, because that's just weird. I don't know. I guess a horse would be included, but man, I'd feel weird eating horse. Why is that? Because we ride it? Because we're friends? I don't have a problem eating a bull, but a horse? And a camel. I don't think I'd eat a camel either, but I'm pretty sure they're a ruminant. So I don't know what that is. But anyway, it's actually, let me find on her, I'm looking at her website now. So the Lion Diet basically is a carnivore diet on steroids or less. I don't know. It's just more intense with the food. So Jordan Peterson's daughter, he's a Canadian that's all into podcasting and helping people with mental orders and whatever. He was big for a while. I think he sort of got canceled and he's like, screw that. I'll cancel you cancelers. And he became a thing. I don't know. You could tell I'm pretty out of the loop. Anyway, his daughter, Michaela, had a whole bunch of autoimmune disorders and just allergies and whatever. She said, you know what? I'm going to try eating all meat. Actually, it's more complicated than that, but whatever. She went to this all meat thing, and she's like, I'm going to come up with a name that doesn't suck because all meat diet sounds stupid. And so she came up with Lion's Diet. And it kind of makes sense. The lion captures an animal, a gazelle, and eats it. So, yeah. And it eats a lot of, I guess you can have salt, which I guess all animals like salt. So lion? I don't know. So we're trying this. I'm on day 2 today, and typically what my meals have been, and it's great. I love this. Love it so far. In the morning, I had 3 eggs with cheese on it. So cheese comes from a cow, which is, I guess, is ruminant. So I'm going to eat cheese. It said it's okay as long as it doesn't mess you up. I don't actually have any issues personally, but I have a lot of issues. I don't have any autoimmune issues or joint issues or whatever. I just like meat, so I'm going to do it. And I want to support Evan, so he's going to try it too. He's experimenting in that phase, so it's not all always just meat. So right now, he had pancakes the other day, and it didn't bother him. So we're watching that closely. The bigger thing is basically no vegetables. I know, and all you vegetarians out there are screaming, what? No vegetables? It's weird. Since I've been putting into my Google searches, well, I use Brave. Since I've been putting in my Brave searches and in YouTube, like meat diet or Lion's Diet or whatever, a whole bunch of stuff has come up. So a guy that I listen to, Dr. Ken Berry, he's well, he's got a whole lot of stuff, but he's really big into keto and carnivore and all that. He had a lady on his podcast that hasn't eaten anything but meat for the last 14 years. I'm like, all right, I haven't done sugar in like 10 plus years. I exist and can live and I'm fine. And I'm a real person. If this lady's doing it and he's interviewing her and she has history with it and I can see it, I believe it. So yeah, we're going down this weird path. I'm going to tell you how it goes. Today is day 1, or day 2. So it was eggs and then it was steak, leftover steak from the night before. And then we went out, he wanted to go to a place and they had this really expensive steak. It was 7 acres up in, I think it's called Home something, just northeast of Woodstock. They had a really expensive steak. And we went there the other day, and I didn't get it. I got the fish, which I hate fish, but it was pretty good. And I thought, this time I'm going to buy the really expensive steak. If it's that expensive, it's probably really good. Let's see how it goes. And it really was that good. So right then and there, I was like, I kind of went over a second one. I didn't because it was really expensive, but I figured I could probably make something similar to it. And essentially, it was just a nice cut of steak with a lot of salt on it. I'm sure there was other stuff to it, but it was good. And then today, I started off with eggs. Weirdly, with all this protein, it's already 1 o'clock. I ate breakfast at 6 a.m. It's 12:44, so it's not quite 1 o'clock. I'm not even hungry, but I know I'm going to go to the gym and work out. And then Coach Caroline are going to do some coach-to-coach stuff, so I'm going to be there for probably 3 hours. And I probably better eat because that's just the right thing to do. So I'm not even hungry. Now, I'm going to give you this, though. The cravings for sugar for people who do this are real. I'm in their Facebook group, the Lions Facebook group, so I can watch people say stuff, and they've got cravings. I have been no sugar, no grain for 10 plus years, so I do not have those cravings. So, that's just that. I am also big into fats too, so I am like, it's basically meat, salt, and butter. So I think it's just extra fat. There's something called Wagyu what was the other thing that's got a weird name to it? I know what it is kind of, but not really, so I have to go research that. Anyway, there's stuff going on. My point in this is, don't be a bystander and go, oh, well, I can't do it, right? I had a buddy tell me, he's like, I want to be healthier, but I'm like, well, the first thing I would do is just find a time to do a little bit of working out. He's like, I don't have time for it. Like, okay, well, the next thing I would do is change your diet. And he's like, I don't have time for that. I'm like, actually, I'm going to say do less in your diet. So, you should get more time. And he said, no, I can't do it. So, if you're not going to help yourself, I don't know. How about this? If you don't believe you can change and be better and live a longer life, I believe it. And let that be enough. I've seen it enough times. Come talk to me. You don't even have to join the gym. I don't even care. The gym is just a place to go to sweat with people that you like, that have a similar philosophy. Happy, humble, helpful. It helps me work out. I've been doing this rather consistently for 17 years, and I don't think if I didn't have the gym, that's double negative. I think if I did not have the gym, I would not be very consistent. And I think people like Sharon Smith have pointed it out. Like when I try to work out from home, I do a crappy job of it. I have a basement full of stuff. It's mostly broken stuff from the gym, so it kind of works. She's got a sweet-ass gym in her basement, but she still comes to the gym. And look at her the other day. Let me pull this. Can I pull this up? I don't know if I can pull it up. Actually, let me see if I can do that. All right, turns out I shouldn't pull it up because they're going to flag me, and I forgot I was videoing this as well. Every time I show something from Wodify, they're like, oh, it's personal information. You can't show this video. I'm like, it's not personal information. It's someone doing a workout, but whatever. So the other thing I wanted to tell you guys is you do have someone that will believe in you and someone that will motivate you back. I had, I guess another thing for you members, I sent out a text. I should do this again. I'll send out a text. Actually, by the time I send it out, it'll probably be, this podcast will be old, or hadn't come out yet. So the email will be old or the text will be old. In the beginning of the year, I said, hey, anybody want me to help you track down a goal? Let me know and I'll put it in a Google Sheet. And every month I will text you about your goal. So what is it, July? So I think I just did it the other day. So these guys get texts and somebody said, hey, I need some more motivation. I'm like, what type of motivation do you want? And they're like, I want you to yell at me. So I did a voice memo to them and I yelled at them saying, wake up or whatever it was. And I said, change that into your alarm tone so you get up and do a thing. And they were like, thank you. So, whatever it takes, I'm happy to help. I'm happy to go outside the normal bounds. I mean, I probably won't go to your house. Actually, you know what? I will. I'll go to your house and pick you up as long as there's not very many of you. Because there's only me. I can only drive so many places. And you got to be a member because I'm only driving local, baby. So I'm happy to help. You're not alone. You've got people out here that are walking the journey and wondering, hey, what is life going to bring to me? I think there's two sides. Well, there's a lot of sides to it. The two biggest sides that I see are, hey, Andy, I'm 50. Holy shit. What do I do now? man, it's not too late. I mean, yeah, you should have started earlier. I'm not going to kid you on that. It's just like investing. If you haven't invested yet and you're 50, well, you're not screwed, but I mean, it would have been better had you started earlier. On the other side of it, it's usually people who are like, I'm about to have a kid, whether it's a mom or a dad. Oh my gosh, I want to be around. What do I do? I mean, just start showing up. I mean, a good example of people anybody in the gym is a good example of people showing up. But I love Alan Mullinex. He's like, hey, this stuff is working. I see what it did for our soccer kids. I see what it can do for me. He even brings his son in. He makes time to get his son to come in to work out. So he's investing. I mean, think about this, guys. The things we're doing right now, had we known how to do as a kid, what would our life be like? What would our health and performance be like? Now, I've got kids that did CrossFit for a long time. Some of them have rebelled, I know, because dad did it and whatever. They're not rebelling, but they're doing their own thing and they're in college. Levi and Evan want to be huge, not necessarily fit. I'm like, I get it. Every boy wants to be huge. Just like we bottle up our emotions and shove them down, everybody wants to be big. But, well, muscular or whatever. Every guy. So, we are here for you. Don't feel like you're alone. There's many people on the journey. Depending on the stage of life that you are at, it actually doesn't even matter what stage you're at. Come in, let's do something. We can't take very many people. I think our gym would max out at about 150 people. It would just be hard to get everybody into class. I think there's some things we could do to get around it, but it would be tough. So right now, actually, by the time this comes out, I will have been at a bunch of PM classes. A lot of our newer coaches are in the PM, which is great. It's helping me out tremendously, and we're just going to coach them up to coach you. We've got things that we typically work on, and it's not necessarily in order. It's like, hey, what do you want to do first? Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's not. I'd say probably the hardest thing is just stage fright, which is weird because we know everybody and everybody knows us. And we're like, why am I nervous? Just because you're up in front of people. That goes away with time. It just takes reps. It's not a big deal. And then we start working on the other stuff. So things will grow, but you'll see me in the evening. Some of it is because I'm helping Evan and we do a lot of morning stuff. Other is, I'm in the evening because, Evie's doing cross country in the morning and I'm the driver. So until school starts for her, my schedule is that way as well. But also I want to go to the PM because I want to watch and help the new coaches. And if you hear anything or see anything or need me to know anything, obviously tell me. We're open to improvement and growing. But just like anything, when you do an Olympic lift, you're never great at it the first time. When you get on stage, seriously, when you get on stage the first time, there's a bit of nerves. And you get over it. It just takes the reps. But so you'll see me a lot in the evening. Morning people, if you're like, where's Andy? I'm in the evening because Evan's schedule, Evie's schedule, and I want to be with the new coaches to help them out if they need it. I'll be there. So that's where I am or have been. If you're like, where did he go? But again, I'm there to help. Again, helpful. Happy, humble, helpful. Probably the biggest thing inside of me is how do I help? Okay. The other thing I wanted to give to you local guys, we found this place thanks to, man, who did it? Who sent it to me? It was on Facebook. Oh, man. Was it Chris? I'm forgetting. Too old. Anyway, he said, hey, try the Corner Butcher Shop up in Canton. So it's kind of near Bridge Mill area. And it's like a bunch of teenage boys. They're probably not teenage. They're probably 20, but they look young to me. And it's like they go out and butcher their own meat and bring it in. I'm like, this is awesome. So they sell all sorts of cool stuff. We bought some venison there, which is tough to find venison that's legally you're allowed to buy. And it was boxed up and everything. It was good. And then they have cool things like beef jerky sticks of beef. It's really cool. In other cuts of meat, we actually use their meat that they get from North Georgia Farm on the grill the other day, and everyone was like, Dad, this is some of the best steak I've ever had. So I am sold. So they're called the Corner Butcher Shop. Just a free shout out to you guys because, again, we influence a ton of people on this podcast. They are at 10515 Bells Ferry Road, Suite 300, Canton, Georgia, 30114. Great shop. Love that. That was an awesome stop, a good find, and we will be back for sure. Okay, other things that are coming up. We are going to do some sort of fall nutrition thing. I got a buddy, Rick Thompson, that started a business maybe a year or two ago in the nutrition world, and I really never had an opportunity to use them. Laura has been promoted and doing a lot of work, so she is pretty busy, and so I'm going to use them this time while she's busy. We'll say, oh, great, we'll give them a fill-in chance to see how they do. The business for him is thriving. I just went on it myself over the summer because I wanted my kids to have a thing when they went back to college. So I had 3 of them work with them, and actually it was pretty cool. So I tested it out myself to see if it would work for us, and I think it's going to be pretty awesome. I don't know exactly what we're doing yet. I just started the conversation with them the other day, so it's only, I guess by the time this comes up, I should have an idea. So be looking for that. We also have Bring a Friend. It should start October 16th. So you bring a friend to the gym. They don't have to come with you. You could just tell them, hey, going to the gym, go to that class. Let me know, and I will make sure that they're handheld through the situations or through the class. I don't think we're going to change the classes. We want them to see what we do. But if I have a lot of newbies coming, then I will try to be there myself to help out. So let me know if you got friends coming. This will be in October 16th week. And then, of course, Hot Shots is coming up. And what else was coming up? I don't know. I should probably go look, but this podcast is long enough. Guys, crazy stuff abounds out there. Don't live in crazy. Take a stand for your own health and fitness. Do something. If you need that 32 at-home workouts, let me know. I can send that to you. It's just a Google Doc. You can use it to your heart's content. It's not original thought. I stole it from other people that stole it from other people. So it's just stuff during COVID that was coming out that we just pasted and put together. So it's not rocket science. If you want it to become rocket science, there's a donation page. You can donate to it, and I will start adding videos and other stuff to it. But right now, it's just a document that I had together over COVID. I don't even know if I can say that word. Oops. Hopefully YouTube doesn't care anymore, but whatever. All right, guys, you can find us on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook. Look for CrossFit Garage. On YouTube, it's at Andy McCann 42. Podcast, it is currently, I changed the name, and I'm sticking with, I think, Fitness, Food, Finances, CrossFit Garage. All right, guys, y'all take care.